It's an Ask LOJ edition of Locked On Jazz. And the fans want more Ace Bailey. Should they get more Ace Bailey? Next on Locked On Jazz.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
How are you? I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. This is Locked On Jazz. It's your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz, giving you insight, expertise, geeky numbers, and hopefully making it way better to be a Jazz fan each and every day. Thank you so much for making Locked On Jazz your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all podcasting apps. To the everydayers out there, you're the best, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network there is. Thank you. Today's show is an Ask LOJ edition. I love our Friday Ask LOJ editions because you guys do amazing jobs and send in great questions. If I were to, there are a lot more, but there are probably 3 themes today. I want more Ace Bailey. What are we doing about the Walker gap? And why does Will Hardy hate Bryce Sensabaugh? We're kind of in the Will Hardy part of the season for questions right now, which is what happens when you're head coach in the NBA. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get bet $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. All right, let's get to your questions. By the way, few notes quickly. Sorry. Watching Jazz tonight against Minnesota. If you're on Jazz Plus, there is a stream button, and you can flip to radio. It is now working on Amazon Fire TV, so you can do that. Monday, when you come back to the arena, we'll still be testing our in-arena broadcast, hopefully making some strides on that. So I will try to get an update on that for you as well. All right. What part of Ace Bailey's first 8 games has surprised you the most? Oh, that's it. If we count the Summer League in there, so we do 10 games, the overall skill level of what is possible has surprised me the most. I watched the Rutgers tape. He's kind of caught into that Rutgers game, and you watch him in the NBA and you realize, oh, this skill set absolutely is perfect for the NBA. Like, he can just get a shot off anytime he wants. And at Rutgers, it looked like he was just forcing and doing stuff. That would be the second thing that's most surprising. I haven't seen 1 ounce of this ball hog stuff. Like, there was this idea that he was like a ball hog who didn't pass, and I really thought we were going to have nights where he took, like, bombed a bunch of shots and had to get taken out of games for it and things like that. It had no feel. I haven't seen that at all. So that would be the first 2 things I would say that surprised me the most. One is just overall skill set. Like, it's real. It's going to have to come together, but it's real. 2, his willingness to move the basketball, like, and instinctually move the basketball. That pass to Lauri the other night was incredible under the basket every night. The other one I would say is, honestly, I always feel this way, and how limited coaching actually is done on the collegiate level and probably beforehand. It's really obvious to me that Ace Bailey has been the best player on the floor in every game he's ever played in his whole life before coming to the NBA, and it was just kind of give Ace the ball and let him go. That there wasn't a lot of structure and systems and this, and Ace is great about it. Like, you can see him asking questions all the time and learning and trying to figure things out. And then the other one, this is not specifically to Ace, but it just reminds me that, like, a 19-year-old kid out of, I think it was Tennessee, who then goes to Atlanta, is clearly on the path to the NBA, pretty bubble wrapped, as most kids are in this day and age. That's not a criticism. That's just like what kids are. How limited that world is, and how much just life growth Ace Bailey has to do here. It's the same way I felt, honestly, I see these kids. They're exactly my kid's age. Ace is actually younger. And I'm able to kind of look at where they are compared to kids I know the same age and their life experiences. And it's eye-opening on just how much maturity they need in life. So I just think Ace's head is swimming right now. We're seeing it. Like, there's 2 or 3 flashes a night. Actually, there used to be like 1 flash, and then last night there were 3. And I think you're just beginning to see, these moments in time happen. Explain advantage of minutes earned versus minutes given. It seems we are making Ace and others earn minutes, which I don't disagree with. It's just hard as a fan not to see him play more, especially, and I get it. Like, every fan wants to see Ace Bailey. I mean, Will Hardy's feeling is that if you have guys who don't do the right thing, don't play hard defensively, don't execute the offense correctly, don't do what they're supposed to do, and then you reward them with playing time, and then 3 or 4 years later they get more money than they've ever gotten their whole life, how do you ever expect them to come back around to play the game the way it's supposed to be played? And now is the time you're going to coach them. This goes with Keyonte, and I think Keyonte is turning out to be a massive success story of how Will Hardy's coached. We're seeing, we're beginning to, not every player is going to progress, right? I think we've seen that. But we'll see. Like Walker, under Will Hardy, Walker's gotten way better. Keyonte's gotten way better. Now, these guys would get better anyway. I don't want to give Will the credit. I'm going to give the players the credit. But we are seeing players improve year to year and have a better intensity level and things of that nature. I get that Ace was sick to start the year, but why so little minutes and why do you not start him? So this is really interesting. This is probably the most interesting conversation on the Jazz. I do believe that Ace would have started had he not gotten sick. Remember, he also had the knee thing. It wasn't just sick. He was sick, and then he also had the knee thing, and he just didn't practice at all. And then he came off the bench, and he didn't do it very well, which is probably understandable. He's never come off the bench in his life. We can all. I'm bullish on Ace Bailey. Let's just make sure that we're all honest about one thing, okay? His plus minuses are the worst of anyone in the NBA. Okay, so opening night he was +5, and I don't really like game to game plus minus as a metric, but what I'm about to show you probably tells you there's stuff consistently that Ace needs to get better at. I'm guessing defensive rotations, understanding when offense runs, just stuff, not skill stuff. His skills are incredible. But in 13 minutes in Sacramento, he was -16. In 13 minutes in Phoenix, he was -15. In 15 minutes in Portland, he was -17. In 22 minutes in Phoenix, he was -15. In 19 minutes in Charlotte, he was -17. In Boston, he was +11. And in Detroit, in 19 minutes, he was -15. That's pretty incredible. He has the worst plus-minus differential on and off the floor of any player in the NBA. So we're 22 points better per 100 possessions when Ace is off the floor defensively. I think there's a lot of learning that still needs to take place here for Ace, particularly on the defensive end, for him to get more and more time. Now, he's subbing in about 3.5 minutes earlier than he used to. So there is an effort here that to put Ace with the top group more. The other one is, like, Ace just didn't play well, and Svi played great. Like, there's also just that, on the simplest term, that's what happened. Ace didn't play for 6 days, barely played opening day. They're working his way back. He didn't play very well. It's a lot. Svi played great. You just kind of roll with it here for a while. Ace is going to get his minutes, get his opportunities, going to grow. And we're seeing, as I said, we're seeing from 3 flashes or 1 flash to 3 flashes to like it's clear. And I would look at the season in 10-game increments. So in this 10-game increment, he's getting about 17 minutes a night. I would guess in the next 10-game increment, he's going to get 20. And there'll probably be a 10-game increment where he gets banged up. And then hopefully there's a 10-game increment where he gets 25 minutes. And maybe in the last 10-game increment, he's getting 30. Svi is playing great, but help me understand why he's getting 30-plus minutes per night. Hardy's making Ace and others beat him out. I know he plays hard. He's fun to watch, but it seems – what I think just happened is that Svi grasped an opportunity. Svi got the start. The team played well, and he played well. And there's 4 things that can happen in a game, by the way. Like a player can play well and the team can play well. A player can play well, the team can play badly. A player can play badly, the team can play well, and both can play badly. And Svi has played really, really well. Had a little stretch there where he couldn't make a shot, and then the last night he went bonkers. He's a career 36% three-point shooter. He's kind of back on it. I think he went 3 of 17 at one point. And 3 of 17 when you're a 36% three-point shooter, then turns around, and I think he's 7 of his last 14. He's played great. 28-point game. Or maybe that's the other way. Maybe he started the year. Actually, I think he started the year 7 of his last 14. He's now 6 of his last 11. Coming out of that slump. But, Svi came out and scored 20 in 2 of the first 3 games and went 7 of 14 from 3. You're just not benching him. And then Ace just hasn't played well enough to grab that opportunity. It's really simple. It's not permanent. All right. Walker Kessler. What are we possibly doing for a center for the rest of the year? It's next on Locked On Jazz. Friday edition of Locked On Jazz is brought to you by Murdoch Hyundai, located at 4646 South State Street. Also located in Logan and in Linden. If you're looking for a car, I cannot speak highly enough about the Hyundai. My pocketbook backs us up. I've bought the Ioniq 5. I've bought an Ioniq. My dad bought an Ioniq 6. I've bought 2 Santa Fe's. I could not be more pleased. For the bang of the buck, the safety, the quality of the car, and the price tag, to me, it's like, I can't imagine why you do more. I'm driving the Santa Fe Hybrid right now. It's amazing. Literally fill it up and never worry about it again, seemingly. It's not electric, but it feels pretty close. It's 600 miles for every tank of gas. And it drives great. 3 rows of seats, super powerful. If you're in the market for a car right now and you're going to look at Hyundai, feel free to email me first at dlock09@gmail.com and let's get you the VIP treatment that you deserve at Murdoch Hyundai. Today's show is brought to you by DoorDash, which is how I'm going to get lunch today because I don't have time to drive out to Lola's Pizza and get it, but I want Lola's Pizza. The NBA is heating up, and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in the bag all season long, whether you're watching highlights, your fantasy team, or you're just your favorite player. DoorDash makes every game night even better. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating with something called the Bag Drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 in a game, DoorDash drops 50% on your order with Dash Pass the next day. You're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. We're talking player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, stuff you actually want. I love that it's just not food. You can get everything from snacks to drinks to headphones, ice, etc. Boom. DoorDash has you covered late night highlights, late minute watch parties, and double overtime fuel. So next time somebody goes off and scores 50, promo code NBA50 the next day gets you 50% off with DoorDash with Dash Pass. Plus your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only 50% off, up to $10 the day after a 50-point game with promo code. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 years and older. Visit DoorDash in your bag for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. Thanks so much for making Locked On Jazz your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all podcasting apps. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. All right. Let's get back to your questions. They've been great. Do we fill up the Ace Bailey bag enough for everybody? There was a specific question about Ace Bailey in fourth quarters. I think that happens. Let's look at it in 10-game stretches. See what happens. Walker Kessler news. Do the Jazz pivot and trade for a center or ride this out and see how Flip and Hendricks can be at the 5 and it benefits our draft pick? All right. Here's the really tricky thing that I did not get into yesterday. If we try to fill the gap of Walker Kessler being out for the year with a player, because Kevin Love did not get bought out, we have 15 players on the roster. So there is not a player, like everyone's like, oh, let's go get Mo Bamba off the Stars. The Jazz have no rights to Mo Bamba. He's on the Stars, but he's not a two-way player. He's just an Exhibit 10. He's free for anyone to take. So if we were to want to sign Mo Bamba, we have to waive a player. Okay. So the player you might waive at that point, let's just guess, is a Kyle Anderson, George Niang, Kevin Love type player. However, the Jazz need those salaries if they're going to make any type of trade. Kyle Anderson is at $9.2 million, and I think has a year left on next year's deal. There's a year left. George Niang is at $8 million, and Kevin Love is at $4 million. If the Jazz wanted to trade for, I don't know, even any of the players we talked about yesterday, or just any player, or make any move in this offseason, they need to be able to move salaries. And Lauri at 46 is the top-heavy top, and then Nurkic is at 19, which we now need because we need a center. And so if you're trying to go get a player, we can coddle up $23 million in those salaries and not much else. And so if you wanted to go sign a center, but then you released Kyle Anderson, George Niang, or Kevin Love, you actually lose their salary. And then you lose the ability to move them at the trade deadline in some capacity. If someone needs, actually, I think the luxury tax relief number may now be the beginning of the season, not the trade deadline. I'll have to check that. As I say that out loud, I think that's true. Let me check that. So if somebody needed outs off something money-wise, we're putting draft picks to go get somebody. We still need the salary to go kind of get it. We have exceptions. We have some other things. We have some flexibility. Front office done a nice job. But the fact is, you don't really want to just sign a player to play backup center and then release one of our guys. Does that make sense? Is getting Keyonte and Isaiah reps with a pick-and-roll center important enough to give Oscar or Mo Bamba some playing time instead of Love, or bringing in another fringe center? So this is a little bit, but first, Mo Bamba you just can't bring in. It's not like baseball. He's not on the Jazz roster in any way, shape, or form. He's on the Stars roster. And the Jazz have no rights to him, and we have 18 players on our roster, and we would have to cut a player. Oscar Tshiebwe is a two-way player and could come up. Oscar Tshiebwe, I do not think is going to give Keyonte George and Isaiah Collier reps that are on the level that I was talking about yesterday. My concern yesterday on the show is you lose a whole year of pick and roll reps between Walker and Keyonte. Walker needed to get way better at it. Keyonte and Isaiah did too. And and these were important reps for them to learn how to understand each other, how to play, how to do things. So in that sense, I don't think the answer on this one is, I think the roster management of all of this is such that I don't think this is an option to go bring in. Somebody asked about, you could trade for Nick Richards, I guess, was one of the ideas, because Phoenix has too many bigs and they're not playing Malawach. And he's viable. He would be a viable pick and roll big. But then you're giving up something for him. Does Field any trade value with his recent impressive play? And if so, who's a playoff team that could use his skill set? I doubt it. honestly. Unless someone just has an injury and needs to fill in at some point in time here. That would be the scenario. But I don't think Svi does hold that. Svi has $3.8 million this year. No guaranteed dollars next year, 3.8. By the way, Kyle Anderson has no guaranteed dollars next year. So I don't think Svi has great trade value. Given your expectations for the season, what are the players you're most concerned about? Mine is Flip. His playmaking hasn't been there. His sophomore slump is hitting hard. So first thing I would say is I don't ever have large expectations that a player is going to improve year 1 to year 2. Okay, so that's the first thing. I agree. The way we're playing right now with Flip at the 4, he's not getting quite as many opportunities to make plays as he did when we played him a little bit at the 5 and he had the ball in his hands and we kind of run everything off of him. And defensively, I think there's a real feeling that the 5's not a great answer, but I think we'll see as Kevin Love probably misses some games at some point. We'll probably see Kyle at the 5 and getting the ball in his hands. Yeah, I mean, I don't have, like, he's playing the exact same amount of minutes. His shooting's off. He's shooting 38% instead of 50. Yeah, I haven't seen the things that, like, are on my list of improvement. High quality 3-point shooting to make sure that he really has that as a threat. He worked hard on trying to learn how to rim finish. He talked about watching Luka and Jokic and how they rim finish. And this is often the case. Is like you go work on these things. The year 1 to year 2, that it's still too hard in this league to do those things. I think the one thing that might have, some of his bad plays this year are loud. It doesn't make them actually worse than another bad play, but his bad plays feel loud right now. Whether it's, moving pick on the outside or dribbling off a foot or some things of that nature. His poor plays, I think, are leaving a larger impression, so I think it feels like he might not be playing as well as you'd expect, would be my thoughts. Will Hardy frustration from fans next on Locked On Jazz. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers bet $5 at FanDuel and they get $300 in bonus bets. That's right. Go to FanDuel.com and if you bet $5, you get $300 in bonus bets. Kind of a great deal. Whether it's an in-game action, whether it's following something is going that nobody else knows, whatever it might be on FanDuel, get into the action, get there, follow this line, feel the action, enjoy it, have a blast, and you can also combine with same-game parlays for a shot at a bigger payout. Keeps every game exciting, especially when you're trying to make the late push. So head to FanDuel.com and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Today's show is also brought to you by Prize Picks. Don't you like being right and being rewarded for being right? That's what we got for you with Prize Picks. Prize Picks right now. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA and get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, you decide more or less and enjoy all the fun that comes with it as a night goes on in the NBA right now. Don't miss out on any of the excitement. There's also NFL. If you've tried it, Prize Picks, if you haven't tried it, Prize Picks is the simplest way to play. So you pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere. Prize Picks operates including California, Texas, Georgia, all around. New stacks features game-changing. You can now play more on Steph's threes, points, and assists in the same lineup. Plus, if one of your players leaves early with an injury, the injury reboot saves your lineup from a loss. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in your lineups. After you play, your first $5 lineup. That's code Locked on NBA for $50 in the lineup. After your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Thanks so much for making Locked On Jazz your first listen of the day. For those of you who are a fan of late game watch, I just have not gotten them this year. I apologize. I've just been a little busier than I thought. All right. That was Flip. Do we have a third score? Nope. And it's a problem. I think offense is going to be really hard here for a little while. It's going to be interesting to watch tonight. Minnesota's not good offensively. In fact, we're better than Minnesota offensively so far this season. Minnesota is 25th in the league defensively right now. I want to see they should shut us down. We'll see what happens. All right, here's the fun stuff. What kind of dirt does Fee have on Coach Hardy to make him play in front of others? Please explain Coach Hardy's decision-making and why does he hate Brice? What is the real beef between Will and Brice? Everyone keeps pointing to defense and effort, but they never apply this to Keyonte, JC, THT, etc. Is it a personal thing or are the Jazz planning on trading him? All right. Okay, first of all, the last thing's inaccurate. Keyonte came off the bench the entire year second half of the year last year for not playing defense. Taylor Horton-Tucker was benched and probably did not do it to Jordan Clarkson. So that's not true. Will does not hate Bryce Sensabaugh. Svi does not have pictures of Will Hardy that I'm aware of. Svi's played really well. Like, we can want the young players to play, but we have to admit Svi's played really well, right? He's played defense. He's moved the basketball. He plays hard. His level of desperation is good. Like, he's played really hard. Like, Will's pretty consistent right now. Like, Elijah Harkless is in the rotation. He plays hard in defense. Plays really, really hard. Honestly, I don't know if this was it, but I watched the game in Phoenix where Flip started and got benched and didn't play the second half and then didn't play the starting lineup. He didn't run hard that day. At least that's what I saw. Since then, he's run really hard. Like, since then, he's played really hard. And that'll help him get better. I don't know, like, Bryce's defense clearly is prohibiting him from getting on the floor as much as he would like and we would like. Because I said this once before about Brice. On a team that desperately needs shooting, when your best shooter's not playing, it's not because the coach like the coach desperately would love to have Bryce Sensabaugh shooting on the floor right now. Brice, in the last game that Brice played, he and Walter Clayton really missed on a bunch of small screen interchanges. And then and I think there was just a lack of physicality and communication and how those were played. This is not why I would bench Bryce Sensabaugh either, but it is worth noting he was not getting shots off or shooting particularly well in the final 4 or 5 games that he did play. Now, his minutes got slim, right? He got down to 5 minutes. So, I think he's 3 of his last 12 or something like that from the field, maybe 4 of his last 13. It's obviously we'd like to see Brice play more. He opened the year with 20 in that opener and played super well. And then I think had like 12 or 14 or 15 in Sacramento. And I would suspect this circles back and Brice gets time again. I don't think Elijah Harkless is taking that time for the rest of the year. And I think as the year goes on, Ace Bailey will start to get more minutes. And Svi's minutes will probably diminish. Like, Will's not lost on what's going on here. Andy Larson wrote an article about this, so I think this is pretty obvious that the number one goal this season is not to lose the 26th pick. If the second is young player development, is Coach Hardy going nuclear during every timeout, coaching them too hard? Will was asked about his yelling at players. He said it's intentional and it's thought out. And I know Will is incredibly thought out, so I think that is true. And I think he has a relationship with them that I think they understand this. Like during the heat of the battle, he wants to win. He wants them to win. He's rooting for them. He's on their side. And he's going to push them as much as he possibly can. And he wants certain things. And if you don't run back on defense, or you don't do this, we got to do it. And I'm assuming the yelling is not personal. And I think they get it. It's a risk. Like the benching 5 guys like he did the other night, like you cannot do that a lot of times. It's a risk. But I think this is what Will thinks is most important young development is not, Will's been talking about this a lot. We're not just going to do 1% growth and call it good all the time. We're going to play hard in games and try to win. How are NBA coaches using AI to improve players? I don't think they are yet. I think it's really interesting. I think there's going to literally be a day where the front offices can plug a player into their roster and see what the impact would be like on the floor. But I think it's a good question. Has Kevin Love always been this joyful? What are the memories of him in the previous 17 years in the NBA? Is he going to be long enough I should invest in a Love Jazz jersey? Well, I think you should invest in a Love Jazz jersey just because it says Love on the back, and that's fabulous. I don't think he'll be around particularly long. I think this is the last part of his career. He is incredible. I've been very fortunate to spend some time talking to him. And he has well documented his mental health problems, including panic attacks inside games. So if you want to search Kevin Love Players Tribune mental health and read about it, it's pretty incredible. And no, he has not always been this joyful, I think. I think he is really enjoying himself. There was a Washington Post article that was written, I think, about a year ago that he's enjoying himself more than he's ever enjoyed himself, and that's why he doesn't want to quit. And even talking to him the other day, I hope he doesn't mind this. I was like, your reaction was amazing. He's like, that's all I got right now. Like, I'm super bummed that Walker got hurt and I get to play, but I'm excited to play. But he's like, all I got is wins. Like, all I got is those moments. Like, yeah, I'm going to cherish and enjoy every single one of them, which I thought was amazing. He's been great. What a joy to be around. That is Locked On Jazz today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Tune into SEG or Jazz Plus tonight. Flip it over to the streaming, to the audio, and tell us what your experience is like and how it goes. Love to have you there. We'll be back with you with postcast after the game. Thanks so much for tuning in. This has been Locked On Jazz. We now send you the first ever national 24/7 NBA channel on YouTube, Locked On NBA. And if you're on audio, check out Locked On NBA every game, every night with NBA Game Night.